the pathless path is a limited path, because how can one reach the deepest self by not knowing even where to look for it? How can you reach a destination by not knowing what there is, where it leads, what are the main obstacles on the way? In the non-dual teachings, there are many grand statements. Non-dual yogis love them. There is nothing as such. There is just the pathless path. Everything is absolute. And that should make life easier for all the seekers. In practicality, it is more difficult than that. Once Ramana was asked about the teachings of other guru of the time, who said that the way of awakening is effortless and choiceless awareness. And somebody asked the opinion of Ramana on this statement or the way of teaching. And his reply was that effortless and choiceless awareness is reached by effort. So one needs to make effort first to arrive to that state, and then, yes, you may make these kind of statements. So Ramana always included in his teachings that self-inquiry is to be done by ripened souls on the path already. It is not to be done for beginners who have barely scratched the surface of meditation and now they're already inquiring into who am I. This is advanced, deep, meditative practice. So the same way, well, in essence, the self-inquiry is truly effective when it is done in the presence of a teacher. Sitting in the presence of a teacher, the unseen support happens. That which the eyes don't see, that which the mind is not capable to understand. It is the guru's presence which surrounds the student and lifts one up. So the effort of the student is to still and quiet and deeply inquire, who am I? But the actual effect, the actual grace is given by the teacher. That's what makes it work. The modern day teachers, non-dual teachers, of which are now many around, are throwing these statements left and right of the pathless path and self-inquiry and who am I and this and that, only to support mentality or the mental body within the vehicles of consciousness of each individual. So these practices that are done today by majority of followers of popular teachers are only leading you to the mental body, rarely ever beyond that, unless you sit in the actual presence of a teacher. And even if you sit in their presence, they're not really focusing to help very much individually apart from giving a general teaching. Some have adopted the technique of one-on-one inquiry, which is great, but the transmission and the power behind it varies immensely. Again, it can be a lovely conversation of a deeper understanding of oneself, but the true power of the soul, which is way, 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 way beyond the conscious mind, only few are capable of working at that level. So this brings us to understand that there is a path. And when the greatest sages mentioned, for example, Jesus saying that I am the way, he was right, because he himself was and is a portal to the highest regions. He is the way, he is the ladder, the portal through which one can be liberated. So in the actual presence of, for example, Jesus, he is the way. Yes, that is the path. In the presence of Ramana, sitting in silence, deeply inquiring, if he would gaze upon you and fix his focus upon you, he would lift you up. The same way with other great beings who have the authority to make such statement that I am the way, or in other words, I have authority to bring you to the highest. And those who do not have this authority, they wander around. Thus the statements that the now is the pathless path will only bring you to presence or touching awareness, rarely ever awakening the first step of awareness, as we know in the levels of consciousness. And awareness at this beginner's level is in the mental plane of the universe. It is a Supra Cosmic plane in the cosmology, but it is a mental plane. It's where the universe is, the universal mind, and it is governed by laws and awareness. At that level, at the first level, it is the light illuminating the mechanics. However, this is 3/4 along the path of liberation. And many, many, many believe that that is the end. What happens on the soul level? The soul gets stuck at that place. The soul then believes that it has reached the highest, while the light of Parabrahman is another system, a higher system of reincarnation. So it is not a liberation. So therefore, what is happening right now in the world is that most of the non-dual teachings well, actually, I do not know any teacher in non-duality right now who would have authority to bring the soul into freedom. Based on what we have just overviewed. In the past, yes, Ramana had the power to do that. And Papaji had a really great power. And Nisargadatta as well. But right now, There are very, very few powerful beings who can actually do that. But there are many, many who speak a lot. And then they're all over YouTube. So that's what we have today. And thus, can we awaken to self-realization with self-inquiry? Without help. How far the common non-dual teachings go? They reach the mental plane, the Supra Cosmic plane, but not divine, not above, not the true home. Some of the deeper, greater paths are much less known. One which is quite little known, for example, is the path of, you have to kind of be open to this. So it is where Jesus is the representative of that path, but not Christianity. In Christianity, there are only a few monks and nuns who have ever actually got to the highest states, but not the Vatican endorsed saints. Some of them are, but most of them not. So one of the secret paths of Jesus, for example, is written extensively in a very not so much known book called Urantia book. This book is about 2,000 pages, and 700 pages are the story of Jesus in a much deeper way and much more extensive way, which is not edited by thousands of monks as Bible was re-edited and re-edited. So Urantia book speaks about cosmology, speaks about universes, super universes, and the master universe, which would be equated to the divine plane of the true home, the true abode of the source, God. And Jesus is holder of that secret path where he is the, well, they call it the paradise master. So this is one of the much, much lesser known paths on earth. However, there is no lineage holders as in physical beings, as teachers or gurus. So this book, its origins are very interesting, and it has revealed the path, but there's no one to guide that path. There's no physical teacher right now. Another secret path is the path of Kabir. And what is known in the West is that he is a poet, a mystic poet. This is like looking at the Buddha statue in the living room and understanding what is Buddha. So this is what is known in the West about Kabir, a mystic poet. However, Kabir is a founding father of a, we can call it secret path. It's not secret, but it's extremely unknown. Kabir is a founder of a path which developed into the Sikh tradition. And then it branched into various branches of many, many gurus in the lineage. So there is very little ever to be found of who truly is Kabir. And the greatness of that path and the power that it brings. Now, the Sikh tradition again became like Buddhism or Christianity or Hinduism. It became very broad, very big, very extended in many directions. So only very, very few privileged individuals would ever have an honor or grace to ever be initiated by the true guru of that lineage, which happens only one-on-one. So from Kabir came the Sikh tradition and some other related branches where many of the gurus hold the power of liberation. Some beings have been known, for example, Anandamayi holding a great divine presence, but she has not established a lineage as such. Much initiates or disciples or gurus after her. Same way with the Sai Baba of Shirdi, the avatar of the age. He had authority to liberate souls. Then his subsequent reincarnation was Satya Sai Baba. Was very, very popular around the world. And some lucky people have attained beautiful freedom and received his blessings directly. But since there were so many people around him that, let's say, his duties and attention could only focus as much on particular individuals, apart from him holding the light for the wall. The same goes for Meher Baba, who had that power, who could guide the souls to very deep and high divine regions of the source. Not only to the first region, but deeper and beyond and beyond and beyond. So he called it beyond God and beyond God. In the yogic traditions, there aren't many who would go that far. When, well, in Kriya Yoga, for example, Mahavatar Babaji, a great, great being, assisted Lahiri Mahasaya. And he had a great power, but then it became lesser with his disciple, Sri Yukteswar, as it was already a second line. And, well, Yogananda had great cosmic skills and great Supra Cosmic insights, but he wasn't leading the souls above that. So when we examine the major paths, of course, some Tibetan Buddhists have achieved amazing things. And some yogis here and there also have achieved amazing things as well. So there is always someone here and there who is anchored in the highest or who has access to the highest. But these are not the big movements that are popular today. That's not what you will find so easily on YouTube. Even the books are rare of these accounts. The modern Krishna movement is mainly anchored in cosmic, slightly reaching supra cosmic. I have looked very closely at Srila Prabhupada has initiated 11 initiates after himself. And I looked at most of them, and they are reaching only 1 foot cosmic, 1 foot supracosmic, not divine in any anchored way. So looking at many traditions and paths, we will find that most of what you see can guide a person to the 5D easily, and 6D, and then cosmic is pretty popular on Earth. There are many lineages guiding souls to the cosmic washing machine of the cosmic cycles. And then a few paths guiding souls to the supracosmic path, to a more beautiful, brighter region of the cosmology, and only very few paths lead to the actual divine and within it.